Is it going? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. In this video, we're going to talk about portfolio recovery associates, but this is something that is not widely known about all debt collection companies. And it was something that I had saw years ago. I'm talking about a long time ago, when looking at one of the debt collectors' information that was submitted to a client, and I had recently came about it, came upon it again while reading the Portfolio Recovery Associates lawsuit, where their CEO was getting questioned, and they had a little statement in there about how portfolio recovery is really trying to be on the side of people who owes money, and that if people had problems paying, that they would work with people. And but what really, I mean, any debt collector will tell you that. But what had caught my attention in the lawsuit, and with what had happened with my client, was that in some circumstances, if you have a true financial hardship, the debt could be automatically submitted to a 1099-C cancellation of debt. And I had made a video about it probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago on YouTube and posted. And people had always questioned my sales reps about it. They were like, what about getting a 1099-C? And they're thinking that they can produce it and give it to the debt collector or give it to the creditor, and it doesn't work that way. What happens is that the debt collector or the original creditor has to say that they're not going to come after you for the debt anymore, and they file a 1099-C cancellation of debt to the IRS, and the IRS sends that to you and they want you to report it as income. And if you watch my other videos, you know that there's a form 985 that will allow you to, uh, in essence, file insolvency, and that will not be counted as income against you. But the part about the financial hardship, and some, and I don't really like putting this out there, but I know YouTube is about sharing, and I'm about sharing. But I don't want anyone to abuse this, because what happens is people who have true financial hardships, they end up not being listened to, because a lot of people try to fake a hardship. We're not talking about faking a hardship. We're talking about, if you're really truly experiencing a hardship, that there is a way out when you're dealing with a debt collector. And there is actually a way out when dealing with the original creditor if the account has been charged off. Every corporation and every debt collector has a hardship department. They must have it, because this is just something that is required to understand what their customers are going through, and to try to work out things and not to put the hammer down on them. So first, we're going to talk about some things that I'm going to get rid of some, what do you call it, misconceptions about debt collectors even taking off negative information off people's credit reports. And some people have even expressed that portfolio. They said that, when why make a settlement with them, because they're not going to uh, show it that it's paid off. I mean, that they're not going to delete it off of their credit reports. Well, they will do it. They will get it off the reports. It's just that they don't necessarily have a time frame. It might take 30 days, might take 60 days. But I wanted to just go over this real quick before we get into talking about the hardship. And I'm going to tell you some of the ways that we formulated them. So it says here that if you pay a debt, it's going to could be considered paid in full or paid in full for less than the, and after your final payment is posted within 30 days of your final payment successful posting, we will request that the credit report agent delete our trade line related to your account from the credit bureau report. So that shows you right there. Some people say that they won't do it. That shows you right there that they will do it. And they even have a thing on here, a little statement that if it hasn't been deleted, you got to get them time. And also, regardless, we always go uh, ahead of them, or we go behind them, and so to speak. If they say they're going to do it, we're going to go on the other side and go to the bureaus and say that they said that they were going to get it removed off the credit report. And they even say here, for further assistance pertaining to your credit reports, please contact the credit reporting agencies. And they say that we do not control, right here, we do not control the timing within which the credit reporting agencies process our request. So you can even see that the way that the bureaus are handling stuff, information can be submitted, but they don't even control when it's going to be placed on there, or when it's going to be removed. So a lot of this stuff you gotta allow time. And they didn't even really put a time frame on there. They're just saying that they're gonna uh, place it in there, but they cannot guarantee the time that it's gonna come off. All right, so now let's get into this part here about the hardship. It says here, and they make it like it's just to make a lower payment, which is what they want. They want to get some money. But I've used this personally for clients where they were able to get a debt collector to just forgive the debt. But some of the time it's going to be some back and forth, but I'm going to give you the information that's come right from them. So it's not like you got to take Steve's word on it. This is right here from them. So it says here, if you're experiencing difficult circumstances that hinder your ability to make arrangements on your account, we want you to know that we understand and we're here to help you, or here to help. Depending on particular circumstances, particular circumstances of your situation, you may be eligible for our hardship program. If you would like us to consider your account for hardship, please provide the following information. And it says here, so source of income. So obviously, if you're on disability or you're injured, you're not working, something like that, automatically you got a check mark right there. Nature of hardship, were you injured? Were you recently disabled? Or where something happened to you, maybe family member, anything, you're going to want to put that there. Now you're going to want to make this into a story. You don't want to just say, hey, I fell down, broke my back, I can't work. You need to go a little bit into more detail, but you don't want to make it like it's a story, like you're making stuff up. Think about it this way. When you listen to a YouTube video, even though you want people to be straightforward with you, the majority of people want to kind of be entertained, or they want to kind of know more of the story because it keeps them engaged, it keeps them listening. When you're crafting a hardship letter, and what comes to my mind was the older lady, which was one of the first clients of the credit repair shop when I had it. And she came in to my office. She was wearing a security guard suit. She was close to 70 years old, African American lady. Her husband had died, and he had purchased a Cadillac, a new Cadillac, before he died, and she could not afford it. She wanted to get the car back, and she was like, I don't know what to do. And she was, her husband passed away. She was working as a security guard just to stay busy and living on Social Security. And I said, we have to, she gave the car back. And they had, before she got to me, she gave the car back, and they had sent her a statement saying that she owed a certain amount of money, and I took her through my process of making sure that they didn't sell the car for more than it was supposed to, more because it was a newer car. What is the true amount that she would have to pay to resolve this? And we ended up working out that situation. But we had put together a hardship letter stating everything from her husband dying to her work situation to her giving the car back to her situation that she was left in, and after we figured out what she actually would owe after we got the statement of what they sold the car for, then we wanted to negotiate on an amount. And it was, I mean, it was still with the original creditor, but they were very, uh, you know, understanding of her situation when we put that together. Before that, she just calling her. They were driving her crazy. She didn't know what to do, and she had just happened to see my ad in the newspaper, and she came by the office, and we helped her out with that situation. So the next thing that they want is the expected hardship duration for student loans. Uh, if any of you have student loans and you are disabled, the duration, the minimum duration is 5 years, and you can get a student loan um, not dismissed, but you can get it forgiven if you're going to be disabled for more than 5 years. A lot of people don't know that. But when you're figuring out your hardship letter, they're going to want to know, as stated right here, the duration of your hardship. If you expect this to be short term or if you expect it to be long term. Now, when you're putting your story together, you need to evaluate your situation because sometimes, I'm a positive minded individual and I want people to think positive, but I also want you to be realistic because one thing that I see people do is they're like, okay, I want to get this stuff situated. I want to pay these collectors or I want to do these payment arrangements and all of this stuff. And they end up not being able to make those payments. So you need to really lay out everything for yourself and see uh, the expected hardship duration. And if you can see that you're going to barely be paying your mortgage or paying your rent and taking care of the household, food, transportation, electric, water, gas, all of that stuff, if you're barely going to be making it with that and you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel right away. Now, I know you're going to be thinking positive and you're going to be pushing for better things, but if you don't see that right at that time, you need to express that in your hardship letter. And then supporting documents. We just recently, or we're putting one together for a client who has a medical situation. He's been in and out of the hospital, and we asked for his doctor's medical reports or whatever documentation that they can share so we can also add that as a supporting document. You see how you're building a whole story around the whole situation, and that individual that is reading that information can go to their boss and say, I think this is what we have to do with this specific account. That's what you're trying to get them to do. Because if you just, you know, write some stuff down and they don't believe you, they're going to say, you just either put it on the shelf or just continue going after them. And then if you go overboard and you don't have supporting information for it, they're not going to believe you that way. So you have to kind of be in the middle. I always say write it down, read it yourself, and make sure that there's more detail than saying things that like I'm hurt and I can barely walk, this and that stuff. Things like that need to be described in supporting documents. Documents that you can prove that, hey, I'm having a hard time walking, my back is, messed up, whatever. They also have if you have a power of attorney or guardianship documentation also must be provided if applicable. We usually do power of attorney when we're submitting them for our clients, or we just submit them and just have it submitted as the client. But these really do work, and all of the debt collection companies do have a department that will um, uh, work with you on this. And then you can see here, there's the address, one of their addresses, but this is their address that you would send that to, or you could email it. I would say, you know, emailing for some reason, when we've been sending stuff to email, they just don't respond as quick as it is with mail for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that. All right, I hope you got a lot out of this video. This is some good information. Please don't abuse it, because if you have a true hardship and your hardship is what you understand it to be, and yes, I even consider the hardship is if you feel that you are at your wit's end and that you just cannot make it anymore with your struggle, that you need to be able to support yourself so you can recoup and get things going. So it's not all about just having some type of medical issue. It could be stress. And if you got family, you got kids, I consider that to be not that it's a hardship that you have them, your family, but it's a hardship on your responsibilities and what you got to take care of. Now they may not see it that way, but you need to write it down and see how you can formulate it and get them to eat. Maybe they'll come back with a very good offer for you. You know, you never know. You never know if you put the truth on paper. You never know who's going to read it, and then they believe it, and then they take it up to their upper management, and they say, put this with the accounts to send the 1099-Cs to. All right, I'm going to end the video here. Make sure that you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you hit the notification bell so you can be notified of new videos that are going to be released. Uh, Remember, if you need help with your credit, go to the website, thecreditrepairshop.com. The link is below this video. And if you need your credit reports and scores, go to the number 3scores.com. My 3-pack of letters are also listed below: the debt validation letter, cease and desist collection activities letter, and statute of limitations letter. And we got other services that we have available below, including my stress-free for longer life MP4 audio. Get it, listen to it, it works. It was an audio that I made in 2001 to help people with the 9/11 stresses, and that audio is still uh, valid for what's going on today, relevant for what's going on today. All right, this is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. Thank you for your time.